much too much. I love you much too much. I've known it from the start, right from the start. But yet my love is such, I can't control my heart. Love you more.
Yeah, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Strikeout Bros with Lasha Ruffner and Pablo Pops. That's me, Pablo Laboy. So here we go again. I have so many things I want to talk about. It's crazy. It's like non-Mets related. I'm kind of happy about that. There's a lot of there's a couple of things I want to say. But what's up, bro? How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Second half of the season starts. This is where teams make their runs. It's like a horse race. Now we're halfway through the race, and now we're going to see which teams are going to pull away for contention for the playoffs. It's crazy. Some teams finish out strong going into the half, which is good. Boston keeps winning, so it's weird because when they fired Alex Cora, they're like 20 games under 500, and we all said they ain't gonna come back. The Yankees keep
Look what
winning, the
happened.
Rays keep winning, the Blue Jays are just hanging around, the Orioles are just mediocre, but they're doing well too. They're on a little 4-game winning streak. So now is when you really want to tune into the game and see, because I feel like when the second half comes, you notice teams play a little differently. You can tell there's a little more pep in their step. They're trying a lot harder. Now these games have meanings. Also, this year they extended the trade deadline till the beginning of August. So teams have to make a really good push in July to determine whether they're going to be sellers or buyers for the trade deadline. So right now, there's not a lot of sellers. There's not a lot of buyers in the American League, but there's a lot of sellers. We're in the National League. There's more potential buyers than sellers. So it'll be interesting. There's gonna be this. It's gonna be a seesaw this next second half of the season.
Hmm. Well, Boston is surprising. That's crazy. Steamroll past the Mets, but they're showing that they're real. They did Chi-Town. Chi-Town, they really got it in over there too. And those guys are playing well. So I can see Boston, upsetting a couple of teams. Look, it's a doubleheader, right? Did the second game end yet or what? Do you know?
In that Boston game,
Yeah,
I don't know.
because
I
there
know
was a
they won the first
doubleheader.
game.
Yeah, they did. My dad called me. He was like, "Yo, Boston did it again." I'm like, "You see, I told you. They know what the fuck they're doing." I said they're
You
buying.
know,
We
they have
spoke
a
about
good
this.
starting staff. It's just the offense just couldn't get it together.
We
You
talked
know.
about this last week. Remember, we talked about how Boston was supposed to be buying because they were so close. Same with you guys. You guys can do it too. But we'll see. But I have so many things I want to talk about. I know you have a lot of things to talk about. I know you, yo.
So Boston won both of their games against the Rays.
Oh my God! So that puts them
So
at
to
what?
answer your question,
That's
they
crazy.
are now they're eight games out of the division, and they are now
Look at the division for now. It's too early for that. But
and right now they're
a wild card though.
two
Last
two and a half out games out of that last one. Well, they're the third team, so they're the last team looking in. If the season were to end today, they would not make the playoffs.
got you.
So they're essentially two and a half ahead, behind
Okay,
Cleveland.
that's not bad.
No, it's not bad. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I no one expected this, but that's the one nice thing I love about baseball is the other sport that like if you do get off to a bad start, you have a chance to redeem yourself. And also the same thing. The other thing can happen too, where if you get off to a good start and you can easily have a bad slump and just start falling off the face of the earth fast. and that can happen too. Seems to happen a lot more than where a team gets hot and they go on a streak. So anything can happen. So I always say you're not safe if you're 10 games under 500, or you're 10 games above 500. Things can change fast, you know. So yeah, as an Orioles fan, I don't want to see Boston and the Yankees, but it's only way you can stop this. You got to beat them when you play them, and Baltimore plays Boston soon again.
Mm.
I think we played them in Boston, took 2 out of 3. So, but things have changed, you know.
This is a different Boston. Yeah, this I was about to say. This is a different Boston. So all right. So I want to talk about the home run derby. I know you want to talk about the All Star game. I have a couple of stats for the All Star game too, like pretty crazy stats and shit for this one game and shit. And the home run derby, it's funny because I didn't have a way of watching. What I thought I didn't have, right? So then you tell me, yo, it's on Netflix. I'm like, Netflix. I'm like, all right. So I checked it out, and I got sucked in. You know what I'm saying? I was chilling, watching it, and I thought I was gonna tune off and I was gonna do my own thing and forget about it. But no, I got caught up in that shit. I enjoyed it. The new rules are great, and I enjoyed it all the way. Surprising, it's crazy because I'm not a Philly fan. I hate the Phillies, but I was actually rooting for Schwarber. I actually was. I'm not gonna lie to you. There was a lot of emotion in the park, man. The park was funny, man. What do you think about that shit, man?
No, Schwarber, Bryce Harper is the guy that everyone hates. He used to have a hateable guy. He's got a lot of now that he's got older, he seems to be a little more humble. He seems to be a little more respect to the game. So people are starting to like Harper again. But Schwarber, he put on a show, man. And when Schwarber ended his last round, 11 home runs, it's like
That
that
wasn't
guy's not gonna be
enough.
able. That guy's not gonna hit up to 10 home runs, in 15
No,
minutes.
but not that. It
And
wasn't about the minutes because remember, it wasn't timed and shit. That was the good
I
part
mean,
about.
15 outs. Excuse me.
Yeah, for 15. Yeah, 15 outs. But
You
then
know,
it's not. It's 15 outs. But don't forget that at the end of the last pitch you swing at, if it goes
it's a
out the
golden
park,
ball.
yeah, you go again, and you continue to do that until you fail. Right. So this is how Walker won. He had to hit like what 4 home runs with his last pitch. It
Yeah,
was
like
insane.
six going in to the last
Yeah,
out,
yeah,
and he hit
yeah, yeah. He did
five
some
or whatever
crazy
it was,
shit. Yeah, he did some
7, whatever it
crazy
was,
shit.
7.
It was insane. What he did was pretty insane. And that's why it was fun to watch. I liked how, they say, oh, you can't take it's not timed, what I'm saying? So you don't get a timeout, but you get to, put some pine tar on your bat. You get to, you don't get to take a sip. I can't remember if there's anybody took a sip of anything, but you get to, lean back for a second. You don't have to take the pitch, you know what I'm saying? Because you're not timed, right? So you're not forced to swing at multiple pitches at a fast clip. You know what I'm saying? You can take your time. If you don't like the pitch, you let it go. And it doesn't hurt you. And it's a good way to do it because you were seeing shots. Bryce Harper hit some shots. A lot of people hit shots. I was like, wow, these guys are crazy. They were saying that the ball being two toned, it was pink and white or whatever. It was causing problems for the hitters as well. But it's not the usual white that they're used to. But I don't know. I don't know if you heard that.
No, I did because the previous home runs, it was called a golden ball. It was literally a golden ball, and each ball hit out equals to a amount of money that the MLB would donate to. I think it was Stand Up to Cancer.
Okay.
I don't know if they did this year. I don't know if these balls had donations. I think they did. It just they changed the color, so it's now pink and white color.
Yeah, it's T-Mobile and shit.
Yeah, because T-Mobile's the home run sponsor. But I think it's great because as long as
Yeah.
you keep hitting that last ball
Yeah, but you know what's crazy?
out
Did
of
you
home runs,
notice?
it continues.
But what the crazy part was that everybody, right? It's funny throughout the competition. It was funny because a lot of people were choking on that last ball because they knew that it was golden and they knew that
It's pressure.
there was a lot of pressure involved, right? So a lot of people choked on it. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't happen to like the later rounds when, Walker was doing his shit. But for the majority, all those players choked on the last ball. It was fun to watch. I'm telling you, I was surprised. Yo, that's the first time I sat through a whole home run derby, bro. It was crazy. But I didn't watch the
I've
All Star
always
game.
loved the home run derby. I love the home. I always watch it. It's my favorite event. It's so baseball is the only true sport where they actually play the actual game and like actually have to play. It's not like basketball. You could just not play defense and everybody chucks up threes, or like in hockey where it's not this. In hockey it's 3-on-3, three separate teams or four separate teams. On 3-on-3. They're not playing hard because hockey is a lot of wear and tear on the body. If you get hurt, you could lose. The Devils could lose Jack Hughes.
Yeah, yeah,
In
I understand.
baseball, you don't. Yeah,
You can lose a pitcher,
Caminero
man.
get
You
hurt.
get hurt. You
Yeah,
get hurt. Period. You know what I'm saying? It's like any other game.
well, that's true. In the All Star game, you could lose a pitcher. That guy, Junior Caminero, on the Rays, he got hit in the hand. Thanks be to God, I think he's okay.
Yeah,
But it's like, oh my gosh, if you're Tampa Bay, you're holding your breath. Like that's our best player, and he just busted his wrist, or I think it was his finger. But either way, it's the closest game that they play that's an actual game. You can't fake a baseball game. You have to hit the ball. You have to throw the pitch. You can't just lob the ball and be like, "Hey, let's do celebrity softball over here," and no one's gonna watch that. It's just gonna be boring. So
yeah, it's
I
crazy.
I watched the game. I fell asleep. I was all the previous games they've been high scoring, and that's what I like.
Yeah,
In some sense they don't play deep because the starting pitcher doesn't go more than 2 innings. All
I
these
know.
guys that do start, they go less than 2 innings. But the NL, I was weird because I felt like the NL had the better roster, so I was kind of shocked. And Cody Bellinger won the MVP. He went 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs, and those 2 RBIs were the
Yeah, it's
difference.
crazy. It was one of those. It was like a snore fest for like our average fan, but for like
Yes,
enthusiasts and like
you
they
and
fucking loved it. Yo, no, but
I
I didn't
enjoyed
have
it.
access to it. But the shit was that.
It was on Fox.
Yeah, yeah, we gotta talk about all this shit that happened. Yeah, there's so many records were broken. It's fucking crazy. First of all, the pitching on the AL side was fucking ridiculous. You know what I'm saying, right? So this is the 10th shutout ever in All Star history, right? All Star game history and shit, right? Not only that, the last time that shit happened, you know where it happened? It happened at City Field, yo, when the American League beat the National League 3-0 at City Field for the All Star game in 2013 and shit. Shit is crazy, right? That was the last time that shit happened. But the AL pitchers, man,
And that was the year
they
they opened
threw,
up City Field.
yeah, yo, they only allowed 3 hits, bro. They were all singles, bro, which is also tied for the second fewest hits allowed in an All Star game, bro. So that's two records right there, right? Because it was a 10th shutout, right? So that's the record,
Mm-hmm.
right? The other record is the record where they tied the record for the second fewest hits in the All Star game, right? Combined and shit, right?
Combined hits.
Um,
Yep.
uh, the last team to do it was the 2013 team at City Field, right, where they allowed 3 or fewer hits in the All Star game. So that was the last time that happened, right? And then what else
Yep.
did they do? Oh, they struck out 15, right? Combined, right? One away from the most strikeouts any team in a 9 inning All Star game. The last time that shit happened was in 2019, where
That's a lot.
combined
15 strikeouts.
they got 16 in 2019. Combined, the AL got 16, but they got 15, so they was one shy of that record. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Yeah. And it was the first All Star game where a pitch was challenged, and Bryce Harper, he said, you know what, it's an All Star game. He knew it was a strike, but he just wanted to make the game interesting, so he challenged a call that was a strike. It was a clearly strike. He even said it on the TV. He's like, that's a strike, but you know what? It's an All Star game. I don't care what I gotta lose. It doesn't count against me. And so he used a
yeah,
challenge.
crazy.
It was kind of fun. It was kind of tongue in cheek. I felt like, but I fell asleep to be honest with you after like the 7th inning because I had to get up for work the next day. But I watched the game, and the American League had a really good dominant pitching performance. I was really impressed.
Yeah, bro. Dylan Cease, bro, he struck out 3 out of the 4 hitters that he faced in the first frame, right? And
That's a great signing for Toronto.
he's that's the first time it's happened since Brad Penny in 2006, right? Because he had done it, and that's just the 7th time that it's happened. The other people that did it was Pedro Martinez, Dave Steve, which I remember. I think he played for the Blue Jays. I think I can't remember, right? Jim Palmer did it in '77, Roman Span and Carl Hubel, whatever, in 34. But yo, all these fucking records, bro. All these records. I think the Yankees broke a record too. They did some crazy shit, right? Let me see. Oh, and out of all the 11 pitchers that went up there, yo, 10 of them struck out at least one batter, bro. I'm telling you, bro.
So that means there was a strikeout for every inning.
Yeah, at least, bro.
At least one strikeout per
Yo,
inning.
yeah, yeah, you have 15 strikeouts. You definitely have multiple strikeouts per inning, right?
Yeah.
And Cody Bellinger and Ben Rice, they broke a record too with they got the first two runs on a single, you know. So like they did that shit. Like Yankees, two other Yankees have done multiple Yankees have done that shit. But you know, in the past, obviously, but
Yeah.
yeah, they you know they were the reason why they won. That's why he got the MVP. You said right? Cody Bellinger got the
Yeah,
MVP.
he got the MVP.
Yeah,
So yeah, it was like I said, I, I wasn't all that impressed, but when you look at stats, I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I said the same thing, but when you watch the
yeah.
game, it's like
I
I
know.
was entertained. I was like, all right, that's why I fell asleep. I'm telling you, if there was like last year's game was so great. Remember, we went to overtime, and they went to a swing off. You remember that in Atlanta? Oh
Yeah.
my
Ooh.
gosh, that's another every All Star year since they changed it. Every new things have been invented. It's great. And I remember that All Star game last year. That was so fun. They went to a swing off. Schwarber was in that swing off too. But
You
what
see?
really impressed me in that home run derby, going back to home run derby, Wilson Contreras of the Red Sox, he was phenomenal, man. And he just ran out of gas, man. I was like, oh, this guy's going to win. He was just killing it, man.
Yeah, he was killing it. He was
Him and
hitting
Edwards were
hard
the
as fuck.
biggest. Him and Jordan Walker were the two biggest surprises. No one had them. You know what I mean?
No, hell no.
Everyone had. If you look on Cal Shear, the betting apps, the favorites, Schwarber was by far the favorite to win.
Yeah, but he didn't come in with a lot of gas because you see, in the first round he hit 10, and then I'm like, what's wrong with him? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, 10. That's and Bryce Harper came behind him, and I'm like, Bryce Harper's definitely gonna kill him, and he couldn't. You know what happened? A lot of guys, I know this was because I was really watching that shit, and a lot of those guys they were swinging too hard. You know, like if you notice, Jordan Walker had a really smooth, connection. Like he wasn't trying to do too much. He was just trying to get the ball out of the park. And that was smart of him. And he was consistent the whole way through. A lot of guys swapped out their, mechanics and shit for like
The
real powerful
bat.
swings and shit. And that shit wasn't working for them. Cause they
No,
would
he was
miss.
very chill, man. Walker,
He
he like
was the
he
whole
was
way,
like
bro.
nothing bothered him. He did look like he didn't put any stress on himself. It's like Stanton when he won it in Miami, whatever it was. Same thing. He was just nonchalant going up there, and uh, I don't think of Walker as like a home run type of guy, but I'm wrong. I might be wrong. So if they can get that production, the Cardinals can get that production in the second half. They're gonna win a lot of games and make the playoffs. So yeah, it was. I think it was a success overall. I don't know what the ratings were. I haven't looked at that. I meant to look at that.
Like it was on Netflix, so I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure a
you can
lot of
still get
people
the
that
ratings for that.
yeah, it's still on Netflix. It's pretty funny because I think that people that say, "Oh, what's this?" I'll tune into that. People that wouldn't have watched with it being on Netflix and they happen to catch it, when they're spinning around looking for something to watch. Oh, look, you know, maybe a lot of people caught it because of that. I mean, it was fun to watch.
Yeah, well, that's my only gripe with sports, and this is a gripe because everyone's trying. All these major sports leagues are trying to get their hands in within different TV or platforms or media platforms to stream their games, and I don't like it because I don't have Netflix. All right, so I had to borrow my folks' account, which they're cool about it, but still, I'm one of those people, right? If you are someone like me or you, and you buy a yearly subscription to the MLB.TV, the MLB package, all that stuff should be included because I'm paying for that. I'm a paying customer. You know what I mean? I'm not a drop in customer who's just like, yeah, let me watch it. It should
Yeah,
be
I
a
feel
part of
you.
your subscription. You know what I
But it's
mean?
like, like old school. Old school is like, you had all these channels on your television, on your cable box or whatever, and you were
I
able
miss
to,
old
and
school.
and it's old school, right? So you get all the channels. So now all the channels are separate. You know what I'm saying? So you have to pay for each channel separately. But it's kind of like the same thing because back in the day, let's say you had a package of all the channels and shit that meant anything to you. It was like $100. You know what I'm saying? So now you're paying $10 here, $15 there. So it comes out to that same price. But you get to pick what you want out of all those channels. You don't get to have all the channels. So I see what they're doing too. But my problem, my gripe, my biggest gripe, the shit that I'll never understand that pisses me off. If you get the MLB package, my team shouldn't be blacked out because there's a fucking another service that provides that channel and game, and they want me to subscribe to that as well. I don't care about the other teams. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, maybe I'll dabble here and there, but I need to watch my team. You know what I'm saying? So how could you ask me for all this money, but you're not allowing me access to my team? And the funny shit is they won't allow you access to, let's say you watch it from the other side of town. You know what I'm saying? You watch it from the the opposing team's perspective. So that would be another state, wouldn't it be? So but they still wouldn't allow that because your team is still playing them. You know what I'm saying? That shit really bothers me.
Yeah, I agree because here's the thing. It's only a $50 difference if you just buy the teams. So if you buy SNI, it's a Gotham Sports app. So that you get a little bit more. Like with the Orioles, the Masson network for the Orioles, I only can watch Nationals games and the Orioles. But and that's $100 for the year. Well, for $50 more, I get all the games on ESPN, which I like. The only problem I have is a lot of these games. Some of these Orioles games, I can't even watch tonight's Orioles games because it's considered blacked out. And it was never like that in MLB. I don't live in Baltimore. I live in Atlanta. The game's in
Exactly.
Houston, Texas. Why is this certain games be blacked out? I was like, I paid all. Once again, if you paid all that money, games should not be blacked out for those who paid
Exactly.
for. You don't, they don't do that in football. Do you think they do that in the NFL? If I want to watch the Oakland Raiders, your team, the Vegas Raiders, I can watch them even if they're playing the Giants in New York or the Jets. Who cares? I can still watch the game. They're not gonna black the game out. That's one thing the NFL does right. Well, with all the money you pay, $500, you better be able to watch all my games. You know what I mean?
That's too
That's
much.
that's why I like baseball. $150. I split it with my friend Nathan. We split it down the middle. He's a Pirates fan. He can watch all his Pirates games. I watch the Orioles. I got the Braves vision because I want to watch the Braves too. Because there's some days where the Orioles are not playing or they
See,
already
but
played. I
that
want to
shit
watch.
works for you really well because
Yeah.
you're a fan that's not in the state where the team plays. For me, it doesn't work out at all because it'll black out every single Met game, every single Yankee game as well. I don't care for the Yankees, but it does it. It does it as well. So I can watch Milwaukee play. What the fuck out of here? Like
Well, so you ever heard of the Gotham Sports app?
no, I haven't. I haven't.
Okay, actually, you might like it. Take a look at it one of these days when you have free time. So
Plug
the
it in.
Gotham Sports app, it's a big media platform, and on that team, you get the New York Knicks. You can watch the Nets. You can watch the Rangers, Devils, Islanders, Knicks. I mean, I said Knicks are Yankees and Mets. I
That's
think it's
awesome,
on
actually.
that. Take a look at it. I don't know how much it is for the year, but if it's like $100,
It's worth
it's
it.
great because
Yeah.
when the baseball season's not over, if you want to go watch the Knicks game or you want to watch some hockey, I watch my hockey through the ESPN for the hockey because they don't black out hockey games or because there's no Atlanta hockey team down here. So I
Gotcha.
can watch all the even if they're playing the Carolina Hurricanes, that's the closest or Nashville, I guess the Predators. They don't black out those games. But I like the ESPN because I like to watch other teams too. That's hockey and baseball are the only two sports where I want to watch where I want to watch, and I guess football too,
Other
where I
teams
want to
play.
watch
Yeah, I
other
can watch
teams too.
I can watch football game. Yeah. It,
Yeah.
you know, doesn't really matter. I can watch a football game, but that's probably it. Because like baseball's really hard. Because then I'm like, yeah, I don't really have nothing in it for either one of those teams. You know what I'm saying? I can like specific players, but that's not enough for me. You know what I'm saying? I have to be invested. You know what I'm saying? I have to know what's going on. I have to understand why this player is fucking up, why he's hitting so well, and know it too. Know why. Like I like shit like that. And understand
Well,
my
that's the one thing that sports betting has really helped a lot is it's drawn in more fans to watch that would never watch the game. For example, who's going to be watching the Washington Nationals and the Oakland Athletics at 10 o'clock at night on a Friday night? Most people aren't going to watch. But if you're a betting person and you now have betting involved, you can get more eyes to the game, and so it helps. It also drives in revenue for the betting companies and MLB.
yeah, we're gonna talk about all that shit that's gonna be happening on December 1st when the CBA says nope, we don't like that idea. But there's a lot to talk about. This is gonna probably take us into overtime on this episode, but I don't give a fuck. This shit is serious and I love it. Cause I wanna see this actually work out. Actually wanna see this, come to fruition because it's gonna change the game. And it's gonna change the game in a good way. You know how we always talk about how, oh, this new rule that they implemented, does it hurt the game? Do you like it? So far I like everything that's been implemented into the game to either speed up the game or whatever, or just make the game better. I like it. You know, I can't say that I've been upset at any of the rules. All right, the only rule that they took away that I actually liked, and I keep telling you this, is the winner of the All Star game gets home field advantage in the World Series. That gives that game something, you know, and you're gonna play hard because you don't know if your team is gonna make it to the World Series. It doesn't matter if you have the record. We played the game that made it matter. You know what I'm saying? If the Super Bowl can be a one game deal, you know what I'm saying, for everything, I understand that you have to win consecutively the whole way there. You can't lose in the playoffs because if you lose in the playoffs, that's it. You're done. You go home. In baseball, it's different because in the playoffs, you know what I'm saying, it's the best of, 5, 7, whatever. It's different. You get to live in the day if you lose a game. But
But
in
in
the All Star,
baseball, you don't. Sorry to interrupt. So
I'm
in
not gonna. No, no. Go
baseball,
ahead. Go ahead. It's
you
perfect.
don't.
Perfect interjection. Go ahead.
In baseball, see, in football, you're playing at a neutral site. Baseball, there is no
True.
neutral site because one of the two teams competing against each other is having home the field advantage in
Yeah,
that
but you can
series.
do that though. You can do that. You can say, "Oh, this year is the World Series is gonna be held in
I think that'd be
Washington."
great.
That'd be great, right? So this way, every year the venue changes. But the shit is that,
Like the way they do with the home run dirt with the All Star game.
yeah, 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 for sure, exactly. You
Make
can do
you
that.
know what you could do? I got an idea. Thinking of brainstorming, you could make it so that the world this only applies for the World Series. The World Series games, all 7 games, are played at where the All Star game was. So this year, all the World Series games will be played in Philadelphia.
No, 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 no.
Now,
Wouldn't be good. You know why? Because it's too cold. You know what I'm saying?
fine.
So you have to consider that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't
Or you
if
could
you
go to
want.
like Miami, like they do in the World Baseball Classic. Everyone goes to Miami or California.
Yeah, but you know what happens when you do that? Then the
You lose a
fans
lot
and
of
the
crowds.
team, no, they frown on that shit. And then on top of that, you lose that home field advantage because you know what I'm saying. Because you have teams like LA or whatever, they're not gonna play as well as the Phillies are gonna play at home because they start the season in the cold and they end the season in the cold. You know what I'm saying? So like that's a home field advantage. You know what I'm saying? The way you lay down your turf, you know what I'm saying? The way you cut your grass, the way you water the dirt, you know what I'm saying? That's all home field advantage. The dimensions to the park, you know what I'm saying? Like Yankee Stadium. Imagine the Yankees. They're gonna frown and they're gonna say, "Nah, we don't want that," because they know that they're lefty, dominant, and they're all going for that front porch. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't work like that. They're not gonna want that. But that's an amazing idea we just came up with. But think about right now, they're gonna get into a different fight. And I don't even think we're gonna have a season next year. And this is gonna be crazy because you know who's gonna really hate this shit, and you know who really doesn't want this is Tarik Skubal because he's about to get paid. You know what I'm saying? First of all, what do you do? The Detroit Tigers are playing well, right? So do you get rid of the man? Do you do it the Otani way? You know what I'm saying? When he was with the Angels on his last year, they kept him for who fucking knows why instead of trying to get prospects back for him. but they actually kept him for his last year. So if Detroit keeps him now, right? This is the funny shit. Detroit keeps him, and they try to go for it. Now, after the season is over, right? These guys are gonna get a tough fight. They're claiming that the max would be 5 years at 253 or some shit like that. I have the numbers there, and then 6 years if you stay with the same team. So that would give Schoolball, you know, that would give Detroit a better chance at keeping Schoolball for that low rate because he will get the max of 260 some shit for 6 years if the owners win. But the players are saying, "Oh, the owners want to keep all this money in their pocket." No, but it makes the game better because it makes everybody competitive. Because if you have a salary cap, everybody can compete for a player. You know what I'm saying? So that means that the player has to really decide who he wants to play for at this point. You know what I'm saying? Based on what he sees on that team. Please say something because this is very important. This is the shit right here.
Well, listen, if you're Detroit, you're not gonna let a potential lockout stop you from making a trade, okay? Because what you're gonna do is you're gonna feel for offers. If this is what you have in mind as who you want to get back in return, like, all right, I want your top three prospects in return for Scuball, and you find a team that's gonna give it to you, and you're not gonna give them that money, then you do what the Angels did. The Angels was pretty smart. Now, has it worked out? No, because they keep losing and the Dodgers keep winning. And I don't know how many of those prospects that the Angels got back, in that deal, worked out. You know what I mean? So same thing with the Angels in the same situation too. Do you trade Mike Trout? No, he's on a contract, so he's not a free agent. But either way, because remember the lockout's not gonna last forever. Okay, it might be once.
It's
Yeah,
not.
I've never.
We're talking about
No,
something serious here. Think about it. So
no.
imagine if it happens. Okay, think about it. If it doesn't happen, Tarik Skubal is gonna command something crazy like 10 years at some fucking 500 million, 400 something ridiculous number, right? Now,
Mm-hmm.
if the owners win and there's that cap, right? His last team would be the Detroit Tigers, right? So if he goes to the free agency, if he stays with the Tigers, then he can get 6 years. So that's an advantage for the Tigers because he'll get more money, what I'm saying, for those 6 years. So now nobody's getting ridiculous 15-year contracts. Nobody's getting those ridiculous, 7-year, 8-year contracts. You know what I'm saying? It's either you get the max or not. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. And then you can work your way down from there. So that means that, players that were commanding B players that were commanding this 250 for like, 8 years, a little longer than what the max is, which is 5 years if you leave your team, they're gonna be getting less now, you know what I'm saying? But it's okay though. Come on, man. How many millions do you actually need? We're talking about millions of dollars. Think about it. A max
Because
contract
it's
of
a
two
one, it's
hundred
a
and
lifetime.
fifty-three. I know, but two hundred and
You take it.
fifty-three million dollars for 5 years of work. Come on, man. You gotta be fucking kidding me.
That's like 7 lifetimes of me working the same job,
Exactly.
7 lifetimes over.
You know what I'm saying? 250 for 5 years of work. Get the fuck out of here. That's more than enough, man. If you spoil that, you know what I'm saying? And if you're young, think about it. And you get that first contract. After 5 years, you can play for another team and still be healthy and nice and strong. Or you can stay with the team and try to keep going. But I think it works, man. It makes everything fair for all teams.
Just look what Soto did. Like Soto is a perfect example. He came into the league at 19, got a contract, bounced around and got another big contract. It's probably gonna be his last big contract he gets. But if he wants to, in the what is it? I think 5 years he can opt out. Whatever it is, 7 years.
He's not gonna opt out of that shit.
No, I'm just saying because no one's gonna pay him that much money
Exactly.
because
Not
he's getting older.
exactly. No way. That contract is there. I mean, we could trade him right now since his numbers are insane.
He's
Any
having a great
team,
season.
yes, any team will pick up that contract. Any one of those teams that really wanted him and was really in it when the Mets took him away would definitely jump on that deal if they still have the money laying around, right? And fucking make it work. They would do it. I know they would. Now this is the thing with Lindor, right? So they're saying $150 million for 5 years, right? At the age of 37, that would be when he ends the contract. I think People are scared of that contract. The Mets would have to definitely fork over some money. There's definitely suitors out there because this is what I'm reading, but they won't say who the suitors are. But at this point, if we're trying to
They're not gonna tell you that. It's too early, man.
it's
It's
too
gonna
early.
mess up the bargaining price.
Yeah, but I'm definitely for it. I'm definitely want him out of town, and I don't even care if he ends up across the street at Yankee Stadium. I'm cool with that. I just want him out of here. I think he's definitely, causing a problem. I'm not gonna use the word, you know what I'm saying? Because he's a great player when he wants to. Because right now he's not. Everything you can tell that whatever's happening in house is affecting him out there and in front of the cameras. He's not doing well. He looks sick, and I'm not talking about physically. I'm talking about in the head. So he really needs to go and find himself somewhere else. And I wouldn't have a problem getting back whatever the fuck they're offering. I need him out. I don't want him there whenever we come back to baseball after this season. Whether it's 27 or 28, I do not want Francisco Lindor in a Mets uniform.
I personally think Lindor is getting. It's just he's. I think he's near the end of the line. He
That's interesting.
be,
I kind of believe that, but not
because he's
this,
just
not
not.
like
It
this.
just it's yeah. But to see someone fall from that far from grace that fast, I shouldn't say grace because he's not a bad person. Grace would be applied to someone like an Aaron Hernandez, some terrible person. But to see someone fall from this caliber of talent, one of the best premier shortstops in his prime, and all of a sudden he's just like trash. It's just like you can't even put him. If you couldn't even you, he's so bad you can't even put him at DH if Soto was out for a while. That's how bad he is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
So I don't know if it's a mental game. I don't know if it's he's. I don't know if it's Soto living in his head. Part of me thinks that's what it is too. Definitely has to do with money. There's a little jealousy factor. The guys probably look up to Soto a little bit more. He's younger. He's a little more. He's more exciting. He's the new guy in the room. And maybe Lindor's like, man, my voice is being tuned out now. So like, why give a damn? That's how I kind of perceive it. I don't know. We're not in the locker room, but I watched that game against Boston the other day. And I was like, they say in baseball, it took two guys to mess up a game. Literally, it was Devin Williams and
At first,
Francisco
Lindor.
Lindor.
Hmm.
If it was Mariano Rivera and Derek Jeter, they would have won that game. I know that's not a fair
I
comparison,
mean,
but
come on. We're
still,
talking about Lindor at his worst. You know what I'm saying? Because any team knows that once you remove him from that situation, he's gonna go right back to normal. The problem with Lindor is everything that I've said about him ever since we've got him. He's a prima donna type of fucking player. You know what I'm saying? He needs to feel like he's number one in the clubhouse. He needs to feel like he's the best. Like I get paid the most. Look at me, and this is why I'm gonna be the captain of this team. And when Soto came and got all that money that trumped his contract,
pissed
he
them
did
off.
it pissed him off because he was like, "Holy shit, man!" Because you know that Lindor's a real arrogant fucker. You know what I'm saying? I have to say it and put it like that. I don't
Oh
care
yeah,
if he's Puerto Rican, and you know what I'm saying because
but all of the players are like this. When
yeah, no,
the money
but
gets
like
to all these guys' heads, it's
you
not. He's
know,
not
no,
the
no, no,
only
but
one.
no, 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 but not like this. Like like
No, this is
for him,
bad.
this is bad. Okay, this is like the type of guy that he's like, look at me, look at how much
Flashy,
money I make. I'm so flashy, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I give away, you know what I'm saying? I'm a good, Samaritan or whatever. I win the award,
civilized citizen. Yeah,
civilized guy. I do a lot for
community
the
guy of the
community.
year. What do you
You know what I'm
call it? Yeah.
saying? Yeah, Roberto Clemente award or whatever. So like, get out of here. We understand all that hot shit, but you know what? You're a real flashy dude. You know what I'm saying? You really stink. You know what I'm saying? I know what type of energy you bring to the table. You know what's crazy? I didn't really like McNeil because McNeil used to piss me off, and but when McNeil was hitting, I was like, all right, McNeil has it. You know what I'm saying? When he won the title, I was like, all right, McNeil has something. And I expected him to repeat that. You know what I'm saying? He couldn't. But there was a lot of drama. The same thing that's happening to Lindor right now is like karma because that's the kind of shit that like happened to McNeil and happened to Nemo, and Alonso because they all said the same shit about Lindor. they really didn't care for Lindor. They didn't have to say it, you know what I'm saying? Body language is a motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? But Lindor is that cancer. That's the word I was trying not to use, but you know, as I continue to talk about this little guy, this guy's a problem, you know what I'm saying? And this is why I like Soto, because Soto's all business, you know what I'm saying? Can't go up the plate and get struck out by one of the best pitchers in baseball and be smiling your way through it and shit. Like this shit is funny. This shit ain't funny, motherfucker. We're trying to win a game, you know. But whatever.
Yeah, you can't be. He drove me crazy in that game against Boston. That game. See, I'm also, here's my conspiracy theory. You might think this is far fetched, but with all these players in the NBAs and NFL getting caught with rigging the game and rigging their own stats to make risking millions for thousands, it makes me wonder. I was like, because when you see some of these plays, like, how did he miss that ball? He fell flat on his face, did a belly flop, missed the ball, and then completely throw the ball away. I was like, come on, man. Something's just that's not Lindor like.
Yeah, it's
A,
not.
a rookie wouldn't make that type of blunder. And it makes me, I was like,
Yeah, I mean
is
the
he
face
throwing the game
plant.
away? You know what
Yeah,
I
I mean
mean?
I know you sent me that. You sent me that right away, and I you know I saw that play and I was like, what the fuck is he doing? But you know what? The frustration, they're going through a lot of shit. They can't beat them. Yo, they're going through some shit right now. Like this is like the craziest shit I've ever seen. This is something crazy because this is the season that I was looking forward to the most. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh my god, I can't wait. It was crazy because everything. I was like, oh, I can't wait to get the game so I can manage this team. I ended up getting the game anyway because I miss playing the game. You know, I miss. So I'm playing it, but I'm playing it. I left the team as is, and I'm trying to get through it and trying to figure out what's wrong with the team or how they fucked everything up. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure it out, but I'm having fun with it. But it's sad. Like this season is like the worst season I can't remember a worse season. I really can't. This is some crazy shit at the midway. I don't even want to. I stopped watching a long time ago. It's crazy. My perk of going to the game, working the game, and getting paid to watch the game, that shit went out the window, and I don't want to watch. So it's a long tour. It's like 9 hours and shit. And you don't want to watch the team play. It's crazy because you already know what's gonna happen. So what's the point?
Yeah, no, it's just and we it sounds like we're just piling on one guy. It's not just Lindor, man.
No, it's
It's
the whole
everybody
team.
else, man. Soto is the only one that's producing. Alvarez is back to his old school, old ways,
That's why he's
being
gonna chop a block.
inconsistent, chasing the damn ball. He drives me crazy, man. He's so impatient at the plate. He feels. I understand where he's coming from. He's the little guy, so everyone always doubting him. So he's trying to show, hey, it doesn't matter how tall you are, you can still be successful in the
It
majors.
has nothing to do with that. Altuve is a perfect example of that. You know what I'm saying? So if anything, why don't you take a fucking page from his book? You know what I'm saying? But obviously not. But that's the frustration, Lasha. It's to the point where they're so frustrated and so thirsty to get a hit. It's not happening. You know what I'm saying? They all the energy. It's like everybody's playing as one except for Soto. Soto's like, all right, this team is trash, but you know what? I'm getting paid a lot of money, and I'm doing what I do because if I have to get the fuck out of here one way or the other, you know what I'm saying? My numbers are up there, and I'm producing like I was getting paid to do. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody else is earning their money there except for Soto. You know what I'm saying? And the kids, obviously, Ewing and Benja, are obviously earning their money. I feel bad for pitchers like McClain and Christian Scott is coming around and he's showing. I've said it from the day one. I said it that guy has something, and it's good to see that. I can see the team forming now. You know what I'm saying? Except for the obvious blunders that we have in the infield. And now I'm starting to think that Alvarez is. I didn't want to get rid of him because I feel like a catcher. It takes time. He's still young, and you can still develop him and figure him out. And with Terens there, I love that too. So I don't want to get rid of the catchers, and I don't want to get rid of the outfield. Obviously, Soto, Benj, and Ewing is perfect. And Ewing plays second base, so we can easily bring Morabito up, have him at center, and we can have Ewing play second. And then you need a first baseman, you need a shortstop, you need a third baseman. You keep your catchers. You know what I'm saying? And I would love to keep Weaver, Minter, and Holmes, and I would bring Tang up, and then I can see the team, forming. Parata can go. the problem with Peralta is that we put up those, we gave up a lot for him, and to see him go like that is gonna be a problem for me. It's gonna. I think he still has something in the tank. I think he has something to prove. But when a team is trash and the team doesn't give you any run support, imagine what it does to a pitcher. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to understand, a lot of these pitchers for the Mets, they go out there, they give up 2 runs, and for any starting pitcher to go up there and give up 2 runs, that's great. You know what I'm saying? The fact that your team can't score for you is the problem. You know what I'm saying? And if you go 6 innings, 2 runs, and you K5, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you walk 2. Come on, man. What else do you want from me?
Yeah, no, it's because if you look at Peralta's numbers, you would think, oh my God, he's horrible. He's like 4-8. But reality, if he was in Milwaukee, he wouldn't be 4-8, and his ERA is like in the 2s. So it's like that makes no sense. How are you 4-8 but below 3 ERA? Like something doesn't make sense.
You play for the fucking Mets.
But it makes sense when you play for the Mets. So I guess you're right. It's crazy to think. See, once again, I believe this is karma to David Stearns for just kicking Showalter out the door without just giving a conversation. Just give him the courtesy, man. That guy is a legend. He's been around the game. He knows the game way better than these analytical yo-yos from Harvard. You could have kept him as like an advisor, like they did with Terry Collins a couple years ago. I think
and he would be so he would be managing right now as you speak then, because he would have been there and they would have said, you know what, Buck, come on in. But you know what's crazy?
Exactly.
They didn't want that though. If they wanted that, Buck, I'm pretty sure
he's gonna fight the analytics. That's why they don't like that.
But he would have figured it out. He would have said, all right, I gotta figure out this lineup. You know what I'm saying? Like, I looked at the lineup so many times, when I'm looking at the game, and I'm like, this lineup is weird. I don't, I mean, this year we've had so many different lineup changes because of the Mendoza phase, and plus, you know what I'm saying, at this point we don't even have the same players that we had when we first started the season, because a lot of them are still hurt, came back, got hurt again. Like, it's ridiculous, you know what I'm saying? So, like, we don't really have a team, you know what I'm saying? So there's no chemistry there, there's no nothing there. You know what I'm saying? The pitchers are struggling because there's no run support. These guys don't have it in them anymore. They gave up on themselves. And it's time for a change. And it's time to really juggle it up. I think, with the 4 horsemen or whatever the fuck we did when we got rid of Diaz, Alonso, McNeil, and Limo, I think we should have kept Alonso, because now I'm starting to see that playing first base ain't no joke. You know what I'm saying? And that guy, I used to complain about that guy a lot. And
he's doing pretty good Peter, in Baltimore, defensive wise.
My fault, Peter. I really, it's not easy. And day in and day out, I've seen multiple guys try to play that position for the fucking Mets this year, and they all fucking sucked. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them had moments, but there weren't no Peter Alonso. And it's crazy because I used to complain about him all the time. Oh, all this bullshit. I don't even have to repeat myself. I'm stupid. You know what I'm saying? Because we should have kept Peter. We should have kept Peter around. The other 3, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. Diaz, whatever. He's a joke to me. He was always a joke to me. Now this guy is mediocre. I don't know. But Nimmo was on his way out, and I love Nimmo. Don't get it twisted. And McNeil he wasn't doing well at all. And it could be probably, because of the fucking Lindor shit. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? But Lindor has to go. It's gonna be really hard to make it happen. But we're gonna have to send some sort of package deal where we throw a rate. Let's say, oh, hey, take Lindor, right? We're gonna give you $50 million. You pay for the other 100, and we'll send Beatty with him. All right, have fun with that. Boom. Or we could do Vientos. You like Vientos? Take Vientos then. If you want Vientos instead of Beatty, you can't have both. You could take either one. We'll give you Lindor. We'll send you $50 million, and you do what the fuck you want with them. You're smiling right now. Nobody knows that.
Yeah, because nobody wants Vientos. Vientos is so trash. Nobody's gonna take Vientos. Maybe if it was 2 years ago, sure, they'd listen to you. Now, forget about it. You can kiss that dreamboat goodbye.
Remember, no. It's like, okay, listen. You take him and you see what you can do with him. You look at the tape, you try to figure out what's wrong, and you try to fix it. Okay, in a different environment with different coaches, you don't know what you're gonna get. Remember, and it's a throw-in on top of that. You know what I'm saying? So you say, all right, We seen Beatty hit and have streaks where he's been good. We seen Vientos have streaks where he's been good. You know what I'm saying? So and they're young. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like another pitching. Another hitting coach can't tweak something here, something there, and make them something different. You know what I'm saying? We don't know that. We don't know what could happen out there in the wild. With another team in a different uniform. You know what I'm saying? In a different environment. You don't know. So it's a throw in. You got Lindor, you know what I'm saying, who needs to be, in a different environment, who's gonna definitely give you those numbers at the end of the year. And all you have to do is coddle him and, pat him on his back and his ass and squeeze, to make him feel good, you know what I'm saying? Make his everything in his world, make him feel like he's number one. Meanwhile, there's fucking 30 something guys on the fucking team and he wants to be special. Get the fuck out of here. You're part of a machine. You're a cog in the machine. All right? You can't win this shit by yourself. You know? Not a boxer. Even a boxer has a team.
No, you're definitely right. As individual as baseball does come across or seems, it's still a team sport.
It's a team sport.
Yeah, individual. It's a baseball is a collection of individuals playing well that allows a whole team to do well, or a collection of
Exactly.
individuals playing terrible leading to losing.
Exactly.
So,
Imagine when a well-oiled machine, right, playing defense doesn't let anything get past them. You know what I'm saying? And they know exactly where to throw that ball, where they're gonna be positioned, what kind of throws they like, how fast they like it. Everything to transition into that double play, whatever play. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like art. You know what I'm saying? It's beautiful when it all comes together. And you see it happen. You know what I'm saying? So what these guys do for a living? You know what I'm saying? There's no fucking way. I know, they're going through some shit mentally for sure now, you can tell. But let's keep talking. Let's keep talking. We're talking a lot of shit right now. And the problem is that we don't even know if there's gonna be a season next year. Because
yeah, that's the unknown.
that's the real problem. And I'm rooting for this shit, you know what I'm saying? This is gonna really make it happen for me. And we're talking about a lot of differences in like how much money a team spends one to another, like the lowest team compared to the highest team. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean you're gonna win anything. You know what I'm saying? Look at the Mets. They spent, the second highest payroll in baseball this year, right? And look at them. You know? You see teams like the Chicago White Sox, continue to get better because they lost for so many years that now they're actually, transitioning into a better ball club because they were able to get all those first picks, you know what I'm saying? And now it's starting to happen for them. It happened a lot faster
They're
than I
building it
expected.
up.
They're building it up. They're building it up.
And we thought the Mets were doing that too,
Yeah, we
when
were.
with Acuna and all these other guys, and Acuna seems to be having a decent year in Chicago. He's not lighting the world on fire over there, but he's a part of the success. But the problem with Acuna in New York was they didn't have a true position. They kept flip flopping him around.
Yeah.
One day he starts at second, next minute he's at short. Depends on who was
Poor
hurt or who wasn't.
player development. As always, I've always said it. This for the last couple of years, man. The Mets have been infamous for that shit. But with this contract shit, you know what I'm saying? It has to happen. I don't care how long it takes. I don't care if we don't have a 27 season. In 94, we didn't even have a World Series in 94. I was too young to be focused on a season. I love baseball. Don't get it twisted. I was always into the baseball games, playing baseball outside on the street, going to the yards, going everywhere, playing baseball. But watching a season like that, and knowing what exactly was going on, where my team was in the standings, I don't remember shit like that. So I don't remember not having a World Series in '94. But it can happen again. And especially think about it. All right, think about this. So now, if the Dodgers happen to win it again, let's happen to say that the Detroit Tigers say, you know what? I think we're gonna get rid of Skubal because even if there isn't a 2027 season, right, and this guy ends up being traded to whatever team for prospects, we get to keep the prospects he has to be a free agent, but you know the teams are not gonna speak to him because they're gonna try to figure out whether or not this is gonna happen because they have to wait it out. Because why would they offer him anything north of 253 if they know that that's gonna be the number if the owners win? Why would
Well,
you do
that and also you're gonna lose a year of his playing time because if there's no
exactly?
season in a 10-year contract, you're only getting 9 years out of him, and that's assuming that that player doesn't get hurt. Because if he gets hurt and he misses his whole season, all right, Tarik Skubal, perfect example. He's a pitcher. If he has to get Tommy John surgery in one of those years of that 10-year deal, now he lost 2 years because he lost that 1 year from the ACL, and two, you might lose a year because of the time of the lockout. So in reality, you only got him for 8 years,
Yeah,
and out of those 8 years, are you going to get 5 good, solid years? Dominant? Maybe. I don't know. You know?
yeah, but now it's great because if this happens, it's gonna be great because they're gonna like, all right, you want to play for us? Cool. We're gonna hook you up with the max. You know what I'm saying? So the max is 253. That's what you get. But now if you have a salary cap, right, on a yearly where you can't defer shit or whatever the fuck it is, right? It'll be great too because you can't have too many max players on your team. You know what I'm saying? So you have to figure out how many max players your team can hold. You know, based on how good your system, your farm system is. You know, because if you're gonna have a couple of players that are playing at minimum or whatever, and they're not getting paid anything, then you can build around that. Then you're good. Then you can have more max players, at different positions, if your farm system is good. But that all depends. I hope it works out, man. I really do. So I have a good trivia question for you later. You're gonna like it. I mean, you're not gonna like it because I don't think you're gonna get it. But I'll give you two hints. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta tell me when you want the hint. And
Okay. That
okay.
works.
So now, what else you want to talk about? There's a lot of things that I want to talk about. So tell me something. Tell me something special. What's on your mind?
So I'm just pulling up. I saw an article today um, about the potential players that each team could, each player could trade at the trade deadline. Oh, just an update. So Aaron Judge, they did imaging on him, and it shows that he's healing, but he's not at that. He's not at that level where he can start working on practicing and swinging the bat around. So they're not calling it a setback, but I don't. I think the Yankees didn't think he'd be at this stage of his rehab. Uh, I thought maybe he progressed a little bit quicker. So it sounds like that they're thinking mid August maybe. I think is the timeline for him to come back.
That's bad for them.
But
That might force them to be aggressive at the trade deadline to try to get something that, a power bat of some sort. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, that's true.
so this way it can hold
But then that
over.
power bat you trade for, someone's gonna lose a spot when he comes back.
Yeah, see, so
You
this
know
is
what I
the
mean?
perfect situation for the Mets and Dor. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you send Lindor to the Yankees, right? He becomes your little spark plug, you know what I'm saying? And he can take over that position because you really have a hole there. And that can hold you over. You know what I'm saying? And then if we send Beatty or Vientos over there, you know what I'm saying? They can try him out. If they don't like him, they can DFA them. It's not hurting them. You know what I'm saying? It's like a tryout. You know what I'm saying? Let's see what you can do for us. We know you have potential, but now you have to really show us what you have so you can stay here. If not, you can get the fucking door. Because we really wanted them door. They threw you in for shit and giggles. Because they really wanted to get the fucking they wanted to get rid of you. That's the honest truth, Mr. Beatty, Mr. Vientos.
Yeah. No, definitely. So I'm looking at this article, and it's about what every team could trade for at the trade deadline. So I'm just gonna go down the order of the divisions. As far as what prospects, these some of these are teams that are potential buyers, uh, or some of them are also top sellers. So for the Blue Jays in the American League East, they're talking about trading their one of their star prospects. His name is Arjon Nimala. He's considered the number one of their top prospects in their
Okay.
farm system. For the Orioles, we consider trading the top 100 prospects like Nate George, or left or a first baseman. There'd be a team that's looking for pitching depth. You know, uh, a lot of this article is mostly about you know basically trading prospects. What prospects in your farm system would you trade in order to get a big asset in return for a need that you need? So if you're a team that needs pitching needs, would you trade your top tier prospects for a Skubal? Or if you need an outfielder, would you trade your top tier prospects for the outfielder or a shortstop or any position player? So uh, the other thing is with these trades is, are you okay with sending all that stuff away? Because remember, when they make these trades, these teams don't know whether they're gonna re-sign this guy they're gonna trade for, unless the guys are under control for at least 2 to 3 years within that trade. So if you trade for someone like a Screwball, right? If you're whoever contending team, right? If you're the Toronto Blue Jays and you trade for Screwball, right? Are you gonna really offer him all that money at the end of the year? Probably not. You're paying Vladimir Guerrero a boatload of money. You paid Dylan Cease a boatload of money.
Yeah, it's the
So you got
thing
a
though.
lot of
Yeah,
money lying up,
that's the
tied into
problem.
two
Yeah,
players.
that's the fucking problem. This is why teams like that, right, are gonna have problems in the future, right? Because it's gonna make their teams, weak in that sense. Because all right, the Mets are gonna have that problem too. Because this is a salary cap, right? And you have a player like Soto getting paid all that much money, then your team isn't gonna be able to be a well-rounded team with high caliber players because you already have one, and it's costing you a lot because this money got grandfathered in. You know what I'm saying? It's not like a team like Oakland or whatever. They don't really have big names or whatever. They have all these expiring contracts and they don't really have big names. So they can actually build a really good team because they have so much money to spend, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Think about it. All those weak teams are going to capitalize because they're not spending a lot of money. So when they say, all right, now I want to spend the max I can spend to make this team competitive because now I can get players to come over here based on the fact that they're gonna get the same no matter where they play. So now, if they like my stadium, or if they like the address because their family's close, but
The
they move,
weather is a big factor.
the weather's a big factor. You know what I'm saying? They'll come over and play for us. You know what I'm saying? It'll be different. It's gonna be fun to watch. It's gonna be fun to have all these players nice and spread out. You know what I'm saying? Like back in the day basketball. You know what I'm saying? Where you had
Or even in
Carmelo
football,
and
it's like
Jock
that right now.
Stockman. Yeah,
In
like where you
football,
1-2 punches.
yeah, it'll be interesting.
I'm gonna
I'm
love it.
looking forward to a trade deadline because I'm trying to see what I'm trying to wrap my head around is like, where are these potential buyers from the American League going to come from? Because there's still a lot of teams. The American League is not good. There's like 5 teams at best, I think, that are
Sure.
at 500 or above. You know, so when you see that, you're like, eh.
Nah, but it doesn't matter because they don't think about it like that. They're like, all right, I have a shot. Everybody has a shot now. How can I get better? These guys need this. I have plenty of that, and I need that, and they have plenty of that. So we're gonna make a swap here. We're gonna see what we can work out so I can get better. I don't care if they get better. I can get better. You know what I'm saying? That's how that mentality works. You know what I'm saying? It's about let's see how we can make our team better. You know what I'm saying? You think that the Mets are gonna be happy about saying, all right, Lindor's going that way. Well, he couldn't play here, so we can't worry about that. He's definitely going to make whatever team he lands on better. And we know that for a fact. Okay, so
Yeah, they could use him as a DH. That's one way to. All right, if you know his fielding is terrible now or he's washed, all
nah,
right,
he's not washed. He's not
perfect place to
washed.
put him at DH.
He's not washed. He has more than 2 years left on this before he washes. I think that he'll wash up on the last 2 years of that contract. That's when you're going to really see a serious decline. But I think he has 2 good years to help any team trying to contend take it to the next level. You know what I'm saying? Especially him knowing what the situation is and knowing that he was no longer wanted in New York. He has to start fresh somewhere else and he has to prove himself. That type of energy, that type of makes you, come out and play for sure. I think so.
Yeah, I well, let's see. Teams that like real contenders that I could see go after like Skubal and like really go after him, like they really want to make it. The Yankees could be one of them because now they've lost that division. They need to stay afloat. Garrett Cole has not been the same. He's been struggling down the year. Rodon, he's starting to get it together. You know, maybe a team like Atlanta. Atlanta doesn't. If you look at Atlanta, their best ace is a 41-year-old in Chris Sale, whatever he is, in his 40s. You know
That's
what I
fucking
mean?
crazy.
So
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
it does. No, but a team like Atlanta could use pitching help. Beef up that rotation. Their rotation's okay, but if besides Chris Sale and what's his name, Strider, Spencer Strider, uh, you're not gonna get far in a 7-game series because, yeah, Garcia's been great this year, and you put in a lot of plug and play, starters. It works in the regular season, but in the fourth game, in the could be a do or die game. Uh, you don't want some guy who hasn't done it in a while. I can't think of the guy's name, but do you want that guy that would be like a sixth starter on a good team as your save your season type of guy? You know what I mean? And the answer is no. So a team like that could go after them. The Dodgers. You can never discount the Dodgers. They could go out because the Dodgers don't care. They're trying to win chips. You're gonna do everything.
Exactly.
You're like a
Everything.
vacuum. You suck up everything that you can because who cares? Because the road's gonna remember it. Good times and bad times don't last forever. You know what I mean? You're not gonna be bad forever. You're not gonna be good forever. Just it's the way sports are. So while you're in the good times and the good zones, take advantage of it. Who cares if you piss off the world? No one cares. Just take it and win it. Who cares? That's the name of the game. So those are the teams I think of that could go after Skubal, and they have the prospects. They
Of course
have
they
what
do.
it takes
Gonna
to
use
give
them.
you what you want. All right, you want 10 of my prospects? Here you go.
No
Because
problem.
to them, 10 prospects, giving up 10 prospects for a World Series win,
For a third in a row, excuse me.
possible third in a row. Who cares? You'll take it. You can never take away those championships. It might be it could be 40 years, whatever it is with the Orioles since they won the damn World Series. But guess what? You can't take away those chips. They won those games. Same thing with the Yankees. 2009 World Series. You can't take that away from the Yankees. They won.
Yeah.
They're 27-time championship. What's the first thing they say about the Yankees? 27-time World Series champions. No matter how good or bad they're having a season, you can never take that away.
That's
So
right.
for the Dodgers, same thing.
They're like, yo, we need this one piece to get over the hump, especially
eh,
since Otani isn't pitching right now. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. And if the Mets had like a Yankee type season where they're above 500, they're doing well, but they're a couple games out, they'd be all in too on
Of
Skubal
course.
because they know they could pay him. That's the team I'd be worried about the most.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, a team that's gonna trade from it's gonna be a team that's gonna want to keep him because
I don't think so. Not necessarily. Think about it. If
that's
the
a lot to
Dodgers win,
give
if the
up just
Dodgers
to
win,
lose him for
they don't
nothing.
care. No, it's not a lot to give up. If the Dodgers get Three W's from him throughout the whole playoffs. That's a lot. Three W's, you know what I'm saying? One in each series. Can you
No,
imagine?
yeah, no, it does make a, that's three, and you can use him in the emergency,
Of course.
do it all. Die. All right, well,
Seven.
it's game
Game
five.
seven. Yeah, game five, game
All right,
seven.
he could go out there again
Yeah,
because
for two
this
innings
is
at
it.
least. Yeah, exactly. And that works for you when you win, then you're golden. You don't need him to stick around because you won three championships. So your move worked. And if he happens to walk away, oh well, he walked away. But at this point, you say, all my moves worked. You know what I'm saying? Paying Otani all this money worked out. You know what I'm saying? Because you got your money's worth. You know what I'm saying? You got your money's worth. This is what you do. Like for Soto, when Lindor came, Steve Cohen said, I'll have a championship here in New York in less than 5 years. You know what I'm saying? Wow, he was wrong. Because Lindor's been here for 5 years and look what happened. Nothing. Now we have Soto, so we have to make sure that we get
that you
something out
try
of
to
it.
win a trip in those 10
Exactly.
years.
Exactly. In the
So,
next 5 years, because you don't want him hitting in the next 10 years. You want him hitting it now when he's as strong as he is. But you
see, I
gotta
hate
hit
when
him.
owners and managers do that because you just put unnecessary pressure on the team. When you make crazy proclamations, oh yeah, we're gonna go to the World Series this year, or we're gonna win the next 5 years. Oh really? Okay, guess what? You know what the fans say? Oh, you said 5 years? They're gonna hold you feet to the fire when you say that, because now like okay, because the fans one, he's a new owner, so the fans are excited because they're so over the moon because they're so done with the Wilpons that seeing this new guy coming here, he's very proactive, wants to get involved, willing to spend whatever, do whatever it takes, get the best analytical guys in there, get the best potential GM coaches. So when you see that, how could you not buy his story or his or agree with his well wishes of wanting to win a
Yeah,
chip in
of course.
5 years? And then
Yeah.
when you don't do it, whew, they're
Yeah.
gonna turn on him fast, and that's why I'm
Nah.
always wondering when is the honeymoon gonna end with Wilpons? It's probably early. He's only been here what, five
Cohen. Oh,
years?
yeah, the Cohen's, yeah.
So we've asked this question before. I have. At what point when do you start pointing the finger at Cohen as the problem? Because Cohen Cohen has the last say in everything that happens in that team, from who they hire to clean the rooms to who they hire to manage the team. You know what I mean? So he has the last say. So this will be a second turnaround. So not yet, because now he's gonna get a second chance at getting another G. Well, he's gonna get a million chances, but he's gonna have another crack at getting a new GM, getting his coach or type of coach that he wants, revamping the analytical staff, getting rid of the medical staff, because I think that's a problem too. You have way too many injuries. They have the most injuries. Oh, I saw an interesting stat. Today, they said that the Mets lead the majors with 65 errors in the season. That's a lot, and it's not. And we're at the halfway mark. I've never heard of a stat like that. But going back to Cohen, you know, I personally think he needs to bring in baseball minds and let those guys run the show. That's what made using the Redskins in the '80s. What made them so good was that Kent Cook, the owner, he had no clue about football, but he brought in guys that knew the game. He brought in Joe Gibbs. Joe Gibbs knew how to run the game, how to play football. He knew how to teach the game. He knew how to coach the game, and he let him run the show. And that's why they were able to win. And in baseball, you need an owner that's not gonna get in the way and step on people's
Yeah,
toes and get in the way.
fund
And
it and shut the fuck up. That's what you need.
yeah, and I
Fund
think
it
what's
and shut the fuck
happening
up.
with Cohen is he tried to step off because he doesn't
Yeah,
want to
he
step on
has. That's what
Stearns.
he said. That's what he said. He said he didn't want to get involved with none of that shit except for Diaz. He tried. He said he put his foot in there for Diaz, but it was too late. But he said other than that, he didn't get involved in what Stearns was doing and how he was reshaping the team to his liking. He didn't get involved. He said he let it happen. We all know
No,
what
he did.
happened. We all know what happened. Tucker sucks, and over there we would have given him all that money. We would have had a completely different outfield. At least we know what we have going forward with the outfield. We don't have to worry about that.
Yep, you can
Y-
address the outfield. You could just
You
focus
know,
on third base
yeah,
and first base
and
and
first base and shortstop
first and
and
second
shortstop. Second,
and
you're good.
second.
Second, you're good. Second, you're good because you bring Ewing in. You play second, and then you put
Oh,
Malik.
Ewing, yeah, that's true.
That's it. You need first, shortstop, and third, and then you need whether or not
Yeah,
you can. If you get rid of Alvarez, that's fine too because you make Torres the number one, and then you get yourself the you keep Senger as the second, and that's it. And you
yeah.
keep it moving. You get rid
I
of
wonder if the Mets would trade Luis Torrens to the Yankees or a team that needs a catcher. That's
no, because that's where he
interesting.
came from. That's
I
where he.
always think about that. He came from there. I always forget that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He came from there. That's not gonna work. But we'll see what
Well, it
happens.
could work. Why not? They know him best. Hey, you
I
know
know.
what? We'll give you
Nah,
a
but we want to
chance.
keep him because we extended him just now. We just extended him this year. We gave him an
Oh,
extension.
they did. Okay,
Yeah,
well
so we
then.
want to keep him because we know he's good. So we can probably get rid of Alvarez. This is a good problem to have. We have two really good catchers, but one of them is having problems, and the other one is
Offensively.
consistent offensively. The other one is better defensively, and he hits the ball too. So it's a good problem to have. Do we let the kid develop properly, or we let somebody else do it, and we get rid
Yeah.
of him? You know what I'm saying? Because at this point, it's like we can't do it anymore. We see all these ups and downs, these little streaks of greatness. Nah, but do you have a hitter and pitcher of the week
Yes, I
this week?
do. So
All
the
right.
the gunslinger of the week is going to be Framer Valdez of the Detroit
So
Tigers.
Tigers.
He was signed this offseason on July 9th versus the Athletics. He in a 4-1 Tigers win. He pitched 7 innings, gave up 3 hits, one earned run, and 9 strikeouts. So he was back to his old self against the Athletics, and the Athletics are an up and coming good team. So it's not like he just carved out the Colorado Rockies.
I mean, see, but look at this shit too. So now, all right. So you got think about this shit, man. The Detroit Tigers would be crazy to get rid of him, and they would be crazy to not get rid of him. You know what I'm saying? Because if you have this is the same team that has Corey Mize, right? So they have Corey Mize, right? They have Justin Verlander, even though he's the old folk, you know what I'm saying? He can still, throw in a couple of innings, you know what
He
I'm
could
saying?
throw 2 or 3 innings.
Yeah, in a playoff situation where he feels
He
strong,
come in
he's
the
like, you
middle
know
of a
what?
game.
Let me mow these guys down real quick. He can do it. I know he can. Especially in a high intensity game where he's like, yo, let me go out there and fuck this shit up real quick, you know? He can do it. Right? Think about it. And then you have Frambel, right? And then you have Tarik Skubal. You telling me you're not trying to win a championship, man? Are you crazy, bro?
Yeah,
You
no, that's
you
true.
know, you know, you're crazy I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's a very hard situation, you know what I'm saying? It's not like when the Angels did it because the Angels weren't going anywhere and they still kept them. You know
Well,
what I'm
here's
saying?
the thing: Detroit's gotten hot lately, man. They're another team that's they're starting to win games. Right now, they're losing. They might bottom of the top of the ninth against LA, but they've gone on a little streak. So they're starting to win games too. So
See,
they're getting hot at the right time. So they might just wait till the deadline. But you know what? We're back in the wild card spot. We're above 500, and we're competing for the division.
yeah, they could
Right now
drag
it's
that
just the
out.
White Sox.
Yeah.
The closest team to compete the White Sox would be the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah.
And they could take over because they're more experienced than the White Sox. So if that's the case, why would you trade Tarik Skubal? You know what I mean? Like I said, unless you get an offer that's so amazing that you can't
You can't
refuse it.
refuse it. But then
But
it
we
takes you
don't
out of the
know that.
playoffs. It takes you out of the playoffs though. And it fucks up your run in the playoffs.
If
Think
that
about
only
it.
takes you out of the playoffs if you don't make it with him on your team.
No,
If
no, no.
you
But,
if you kept him and you made a run and you're like, okay, cool.
you would need that. You would need that ace that's gonna go out there and mow everybody down every couple of days and can help you in that game 7 situation where you need it. Are you
Yeah.
crazy? You don't give up that horse like that. If you think you have a shot, you must keep. You know what I'm saying? And then hope that the owners win, and then you can keep him for 6 years because that'll be an advantage to you because you were the last team that he played for. But
Yeah,
anyway,
no, that's true.
what's up with the hitter of the week, bro?
And the
That's a
hitter of the week is my former favorite Oriole. He's having a fantastic year. He made a name for himself in Baltimore. Uh, Hitter of the week is Ryan O'Hearn of the Pittsburgh Pirates on July 7th versus the Atlanta Braves in the 12-4 Pirates win. He went 4 for 5, 3 home runs, 10 RBIs, and 3 runs. He's had a great
that's
season with the
crazy.
It's been a great signing for them. I kind of regret Baltimore letting him go, but Ward has been okay, but he's not the same. Alexander's been doing good. The Orioles' best hitter this year has been Blaze Alexander. He just got hurt, so that hurts. But it'll be interesting how they do. But anyway, Ryan Hearn. So I'm glad he's doing well. He resurrected his career in Baltimore, and he's been great. So he's your hitter of the week. So what's your trivia question?
Oh man, I like this one. So there's only 4 pitchers, right, to start their career and make it to the All-Star game 3 times in a row consecutively. You know what I'm saying? So basically 3 for 3. You know what I'm saying? Because they started their career, boom. First year they made it, the second year they made it, the third year they made it. There's only 4 pitchers in the history of baseball that have done this, right? Now, 2 of them aren't playing anymore, and 2 of them are still in it. All right. I'll give you two
So
hints.
pitchers that are
Pitchers that came into the league, and the first year they made it to the All-Star game, and they made it to the All-Star game the second and third as well, consecutively. There's only 4 pitchers in history that have done this. Two of
in
them
three
are still
consecutive years
3 consecutive years in a row from the start of the
from
career.
their rookie season to their third
Yep,
season.
yep.
Okay, I comprehend.
Okay, so now
All right,
2
so
of
I
them are
got catch.
playing,
2 of them are playing.
and 2 of them are not.
Verlander would be my first guess,
Strike one.
playing wise.
Strike
one.
Strike one.
2 pitchers that are playing still.
You get 2 hints. 2 pitchers are playing still.
2 of them are playing.
Yes, sir.
Ooh. 2 are playing. Okay, let me see. Let me think. No, not Cease. Max Scherzer, maybe. No, he's not an All-Star this year. I'm gonna go with Max Scherzer. He's
Strike 2.
DeGrom.
Strike 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man.
Still playing? All right. Am I allowed more hints, or is the game over?
I'm gonna give you hints. I'm gonna give you
Give me some hints. American League or National League?
Okay, now I'll give you some hints. All right, for the guys.
Give me the guys that are still playing.
Okay,
not playing. Okay, not playing.
No, I'll give you the hint that it's 4 of them. So it's, okay, for the guys not playing, they both wore the same uniform, and it contained orange.
Oh, I know who you're thinking of. Tim Lincecum would be one of my guesses.
That's right.
What? He said they wear orange.
I know.
They're the only team that wears, or I guess maybe on the Mets, it wouldn't be Matt Harvey.
Strike 2.
Hey,
1 out. You have 1 out already, and you're going on strike 2 already for the
so
second
3
time.
outs.
Yeah, 3 outs at this point.
Wow. Okay, so they wear orange. How many teams have an orange jersey? Orioles, yeah, but it wouldn't be Mike Messina.
Strike 3.
So that's 2
so
outs.
now you got 2 outs.
So it's got to be somebody on the Giants.
All right, you want another hint? I'll give you another hint.
Sure.
The other hint is, I'm making these hints up on my own. So the other hints are that the other 2
these guys
I'll give you
retired.
both of these. The other 2 guys play for the National League. The guys that are playing right now, they both play for the National League, right? And the first letter of the guy's name is the same as the letter of the state that he plays for.
Oh.
Wow, I just made that up on the spot. This
First letter, so it's not Chris Sale because he plays in Atlanta. The state. Well, no, it wouldn't be him because Sale is G. Georgia is G. Okay, wow. Still, he said they're still playing.
They're still playing. They both play for the National League. I'll give you that hint, and I'll give you the other hint. I mean, his first name, the first letter of his first name, is the same as the state.
Would it be no? It wouldn't be Rodriguez of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Ooh, jeez. I have no clue.
Okay, so that's it. So I'm gonna have to give it up. So the answer to that P is P, Paul Skeens. And Paul Skeens plays for the state of Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh Pirates. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Oh, and 3 years in
Right?
the All Star. This is his
All right,
third year now.
yeah,
That's
man.
right.
And he's consecutive, right?
Wow.
And then the other guy was Drew Darvish. He plays for San Diego, so he plays for the National League as well. I said that both guys play
I
for the
forgot
National
about
League.
Darvish. He's
And
so
then
fast.
the two other guys that don't play anymore that wore orange on the same team, Dwight Gooden and Tom Seaver.
Wow. I could have got that. I
Wow.
should have got that.
Exactly.
86 Mets.
Not 86. Tom Seaver didn't play for the
69.
86.
69. What is it? 69. 60. What was it?
Yeah, 69, right?
69 Mets
Dwight and 86.
and 86. Wow. Man, I'm kind of disappointed because I was right about either the Mets or the Giants as far as the colors go. Uh,
Nah,
that
you
was a good
completely
hint with the
disregarded the
letters.
Mets. I know you disregarded the
No,
art.
but you heard me talk it out. I said, all right, it's gotta be the Mets or the Giants or the Orioles. They have orange in their uniform. Wow, that's crazy. That I didn't get Tom Seaver or
Dwight Gooden.
that good legends, man.
I know.
Legends. Tarik Skubal and Paul Skeens. They could be the next one of those guys that are just lights out dominant starters.
For the
Garrett
whole
Cole was
shit.
like that for a while.
Yeah, but how many surgeries has Tariq gotten already? He had loose bone fragments or some shit that he just came back from. Like this
Yeah, that's
guy,
true.
he gets hurt a lot. These guys are fireballers throwing 100 miles an hour, averaging 100. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. It's a new time, some new thing going on. So it's bad for the game. These guys are gonna end up getting hurt their whole way through it. But can't wait for this trade deadline situations to see what my team looks like. Maybe it'll be fun to go watch a really young Mets team for the second half of the season where we go relax, have a hot dog, and watch the kids play. And it's fun. It's like, going to see your
You
kids
see the
play
future,
and see the future of your ball club play, see the development. I like that idea. Hopefully, this is what's going to happen in Queens. So this way, you get fans to come out for that shit. They will. It'll be a different atmosphere, different environment. Now we're playing with no pressure. We're just trying to get the kinks out. You know what I'm saying? Let's have fun. All right. And with that note, peace, brother. That was a good one. I have fun with this one.
Yeah, man, that was good, man. We'll see you next week. Thanks,
All right, peace,
fans.
peace, peace.